You weigh about 50 kilograms. You are the largest rodent on Earth. And right now a bird is standing on your head. You don't flinch. You don't move. You just keep chewing grass by the edge of the water. This is a normal Tuesday if you're a capybara. Almost every other prey animal your size spends its life in a state of quiet alertness. Not you. You are, by nearly every measurable behavioral standard, the calmest large mammal in the Americas. Turtles sunbathe on your back. Birds pick insects off your skin. Monkeys sit beside you without a second glance. Even young caimans, animals that would happily eat almost anything else your size, seem to leave you alone. How does an animal become friends with basically everything? To understand this, you have to start with where you live. You are native to South America, spread across wetlands, riverbanks, and swamps from Panama down through Argentina. Your biggest stronghold is the Pantanal, the largest tropical wetland on the planet, sitting mostly in Brazil. Researcher José Roberto Moreira, who has spent decades studying capybara populations in the Pantanal, has documented just how central you are to this ecosystem. Your herds graze the wetland grasses, your dung fertilizes the soil, and your body becomes, quite literally, a floating habitat for other species. That's not an exaggeration. Turtles use your back as a basking platform because it gets them out of the water and closer to the sun without the effort of climbing onto a slippery log. Birds like cattle tyrants and oxpeckers land on you because your thick, coarse fur is a five-star buffet of ticks, flies, and parasites. You get pest control. They get lunch. Neither of you has to negotiate the deal. Just works. But why don't you react? Why doesn't this trigger a flight response the way it would in almost any other prey species? Part of the answer is neurological. Capybaras have a notably low resting heart rate and a stress response that activates more slowly than in many similarly sized mammals. Researchers who study social tolerance in animals, including primatologist Franz de Waal, have long pointed out that low reactivity and high social tolerance tend to travel together across the animal kingdom. An animal that doesn't panic easily has more room to let other species get close. You are essentially wired for patience. There's also the fact that you almost never live alone. Capybaras form tight social groups, usually 10 to 20 individuals, sometimes swelling to over 100 during the dry season when everyone crowds around the same shrinking water holes. Living in a group changes everything about how an animal experiences risk. When there are 20 pairs of eyes instead of one, no single capybara has to be hypervigilant every second. That shared vigilance frees up your nervous system. You can afford to be calm because the herd is doing some of the worrying for you. Now picture an actual day in your life. Dawn breaks over the wetland. Mist sits low over the water. You wake up half submerged because sleeping partially in water is one of your favorite defenses against predators, since it lets you dive and vanish in seconds if a jaguar appears at the tree line. You haul yourself onto the bank and start grazing, methodically working through grasses and aquatic plants for hours. A capybara can eat up to 3 kilograms of vegetation a day, and because grass is tough to digest, you actually re-ingest some of your own droppings to extract every last bit of nutrition. It sounds strange. It's called coprophagy, and it's just an efficient recycling system for a body that runs on fiber. By midday, the sun is brutal. You slip back into the water to cool off, and this is when the real social theater begins. A yellow-headed caracara lands near you unbothered. A group of turtles climbs up onto your neighbor's back like it's a dock. Somewhere nearby, a family of capybara pups, born fully furred and able to walk within hours of birth, huddles close to an adult female who isn't even their mother. Capybara mothers famously nurse each other's young. Communal parenting spreads the workload and the risk across the whole group. By evening, tension returns. This is when jaguars, pumas, and anacondas hunt. Wildlife documentary crews filming in the Pantanal, including footage captured for BBC's Wild Brazil, have recorded exactly how fast a relaxed capybara herd can switch states, diving underwater in a heartbeat at the first alarm bark from a sentinel. That alarm call ripples through the group in under 2 seconds. Calm is your default setting. It is not the same as being unaware. Here's the counterintuitive twist, though. You'd assume the animal most tolerant of others would also be the least defended, the easiest target, practically running a welcome mat for predators. The opposite seems to be true. Your calmness isn't fragility. It's a byproduct of a defense system so effective it doesn't need to look defensive. group vigilance, rapid alarm communication, water as an instant escape route, and a low-stress physiology that saves energy for when it actually matters. Together, these make you one of the more resilient prey species in your ecosystem, not despite your friendliness, but almost because of it. Tolerance, in other words, isn't the absence of a survival strategy. It's what a survival strategy looks like once it's actually working. There's a modern mirror in this that's easy to miss. Humans tend to associate calm with weakness and reactivity with strength. We praise vigilance, treat relaxation as a luxury, and often mistake constant alertness for competence. But watch a capybara herd for an afternoon and you get a different lesson. The animals who trust their community enough to let their guard down individually are often the ones best protected collectively. Your calm isn't naive. It's earned, built on a support structure that most predators simply can't crack, and maintained by a nervous system that knows exactly when it's actually time to panic. So the next time you see a photo of a capybara sitting in a hot spring surrounded by monkeys, or floating past a caiman without a flicker of concern, remember what's actually happening underneath that stillness. It isn't obliviousness. It's confidence built by community, shaped over millions of years in the wetlands of South America, refined every single generation by which capybaras survived long enough to pass on that calm. You weigh about 50 kilograms. You are the largest rodent on Earth. And right now, that bird standing on your head isn't a threat you're ignoring. It's proof that you've already won.